there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today we're going to do some experimenting. So we are on the experiment cam, which is the old camcorder that I use in the room of Ford when I'm afraid whatever I'm doing may cause injury to my camera, and maybe myself, but hopefully not. We're gonna make some encaustic medium and also some cold wax medium. I've got my crock pot here. It is heating up. I've cleaned it up. The lid's a little bit, it's got a little wax on the outside, but the inside has been scraped, cleaned, and boiled and wiped down, so I know that it is perfectly clean. It's heated up, and the first thing we're gonna do is do some encaustic medium, and then we're gonna mold that into, this is what I have that are probably the best molds for this, because I don't have a lot of molds. I'm gonna mold it in here to dry, and then I'm gonna make some cold wax medium, and I've got 3 jars that I've recycled like this to put that in. So let's get to it. I am gonna start by measuring out 8 parts beeswax, and I'm gonna start small and I'll just kind of go from there. This is a brand new thing of white beeswax I got on Amazon. It was not very expensive. I think it was maybe like about it's a 2 pound thing. I think I paid around $13 for it. It wasn't terribly expensive. I don't think I tore it low. Oh, here we go. I'm like, did I tear it far enough? All right, so we need 8 parts beeswax. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whoops, some of that's sticking to the thing, 8, and then we need 1 part resin. Let's see how much that's going to give us, because I might want to double this. And I just have Dammar resin. I picked it up at the art supply store. It's by Jacquard. Now you can do anywhere between 1 to, I would say 1 to 2 parts resin, and if you have one part resin, it's going to be a little bit more waxy and milky looking and softer, and if you have 2 parts, it's going to be a little bit harder. So I think I'm just going to do 1 for now. What's that debris here? And we're gonna let that melt. So I bet that would fill probably 2 of these. I have lots left over. I was kind of like, am I gonna have, let's do some more actually. Why not? Let's double it. Let's do another 8 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And 1 part resin. I guess I could probably have melted the wax first, then added the resin to it. So I don't think the resin. I think the resin is going to take longer to melt. Like these little resin is a type of sap, and I might need to strain it. That resin looks a little dirty. Let's find another nugget to throw in there. That one's a little smaller, so we'll put another one in there. This is not, I mean, it doesn't have to be super scientific either, which is something I really like about that. So I am going to let this melt, and I'll let you know how long it took when we come back. It has been, let me look at my phone. It was 11:07 when I started that, and it is now 11:45. Now, this is a crock pot slow cooker. I've used this for wax to make candles and to do batik with for years. So I feel relatively safe, and plus I'm in here working, so I'm not leaving it unattended. One thing that I think slowed down this process is that I did lift off the lid to give it a stir, and then I realized, oh, that's just letting in cold air. So I think the wax is all melted. The resin is not all dissolved. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up and give it a stir. I gave it a stir, and then it I think let in too much cold. Yeah, the resin is feeling really gummy. So I want to see if I can get that a little bit more dissolved in there. And I'm also noticing some sediment in the resin, so I do have some cheesecloth. If I want to strain it, I hope that I can get it into those little TARDIS molds. Maybe the sediment will fall down. You can see it's already getting milky. I think it's cooling off too much. I probably should have melted the beeswax first and then put the resin in. That's what I'm going to do when I go to do the cold wax, I think. I'm going to give it a little bit more time and try to scrape that off of my spoon there. These are art only tools, so you know I'm not going to be using that back in the kitchen. And it's a great thing you can pick up at like thrift stores and whatnot. Alright, I'm going to let that melt a little bit more, and I will see you back here. It is 12:22. This is pretty well melted, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to uncap it. I'm going to tip it over. I'm going to scoop up some with this and try to fill in my little TARDIS molds there. And I'm going to work pretty quickly because I think the temperature in this is going to cool down quite a bit, especially where, see, it's actually pretty pure. I think the sediment isn't going to be that much of a problem. I got a little in there, but I think I'll be able to pick that out when I go to use it. Oh gosh, maybe this is going to do the whole thing. Just top that one off there. Okay, oh, it smells so good. Alright, so yeah, if I pour carefully, I can just kind of keep the sediment in the cup. Alright, so let's see. I'm wondering if I should dump that out. I mean, I'll probably get some sediment with the next batch of resin as well. I think I don't want to hold on to the crock part there because I think that's going to, I think I'll burn myself if I do that. But I've got this little cup here. It's just like I don't even know what it's for, honestly. I'll pour that in there. That can be my, oh actually, hey, I was able to do that without getting the sediment. I'm going to pour the sediment into the trash. I think it's just beeswax and resin. It's nothing that's going to hurt anything. And I'm going to try to scoop out the rest of that, then I'll just wipe it. Alright, so I'm going to wipe that out with a paper towel. I'll wipe out my little tool there. See, yeah, I don't think that's going to be too bad, honestly. The thing about like pouring it and straining it, if you like, the crock pot is not super hot. I have it on high, but it's not like you're over a flame or anything. So wipe out my little tool here as well. Okay, so now I'm going to go back. This time I'm going to put the beeswax in. So for the cold wax, I want 11 parts beeswax, 1 part Dammar crystals. So given the idea that I think we did that twice, so let's go ahead and measure that out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that's 11 times 1. I think I want to melt this first before I add the Dammar, and I think I'm going to add 33 parts, and then I'll do 3 parts of the resin. Does that make sense? I think so. I hope so. And I'm also going to measure that out and see, you know what I should do? Let's see how many 11 parts is in a 2, 3, 4, 5, so about 6. Okay, so this is about 6 parts. So 6, so let's do that twice. Well, so that's about 1 cup. So I've just put about 2 cups of wax in there. All right, that works. That works. Okay, so let's say we've got 33 parts. Which is like 2 cups. Oh my gosh, I've already forgotten my math. But This is a half cup. No, it'd be, oh my gosh. 3 cups? I gotta think about this. But anyway, I'm gonna let that dry. I'm gonna let that melt, and we'll see you back here in a minute. All right, this melted really well. And look at our encaustic medium is cooling off nicely. So I need 2 parts of resin for this. So this was, we did the 11 parts twice. I did figure it out. But even if I did it 3 times, I think you're better off to have less resin than more resin. And I'm gonna plop that in there and let it dissolve. I'm gonna try to get some that don't seem to have as much debris in them. Cleaner looking resin pieces. Picking and choosing my resin. Okay, there's 1. And 2. I don't want to overdo the resin because I don't think you want it to be too, well, I tend to overdo things. Okay, I'm going to put 2 little tiny little nuggets in there. Alright, now I'm going to give it a little stir. But I think I'm just going to let them dissolve. Oh, this is so satisfying. Alright, we'll be back after that dissolves. It does, if you do the wax first and then put the resin in, it goes so much quicker. So there's a little FYI. It's the first time I've done this, so, you know, we're learning together. Hello, I don't know how long it's been because I took a lunch break and I did a bunch of gel printing, and we're gonna, this is scary. This is a scary part. So it looks like the resin, resin has dissolved. Wow, you know what? I think you just leave it be and you let it dissolve because it is completely dissolved here. So what I need to do is add 11 parts of solvent. I have some Mona Lisa odorless mineral spirits. I'm a little afraid to do this. I've got to say, I'm pouring flammable things into hot wax. It's kind of scary, and I know it's gonna solidify. So I want to have my jar ready for it. And yeah, I'm kind of nervous. I'm kind of nervous. Oh, there's a string of resin. I was like, did I drop a hair in there? It's just a string of resin. All right, I think I'm gonna turn it off though, just to be safe. And so I need to add 2 cups, which would be 4 of these scoops, because that would be the same amount of resin. If you have more, that's fine. It'll be like a softer wax, I think. So, oh, actually, let's cover that up till I get the child's safety cap off of my... Man, this is ill-advised. Ill-advised. I do have some other odorless mineral spirits, but I'd rather stick to one brand if at all possible. And I think it's pretty, like, I think you can alter the amount of everything depending on how hard or soft of a thing you want. Okay. Let's give that a stir. It should be, wow, this is really liquidy. Maybe I won't have trouble pouring that. I just want to make sure I got it really well combined. Huh, I was really expecting this to start getting chunky. Oh, I hope I measured everything right. It seems to be pretty well combined, I think. I'm just gonna dip in here and... Of course I have some hard pellets on in the cup itself. That's probably not a great idea, but oh well. Hopefully it'll dissolve in. Oh yeah, it's melting right in. I think it's fine. Okay, not scary. Not as scary as I thought. Okay, so what jar do I want to use? I think I'll use this mason jar because it does seem to have more of a seal on it than... Yeah, it's got a little seal on it, so I'm going to use this. I think it is all going to fit in one, but I do have a backup just in case. And I suppose if it doesn't like solidify or behave properly, then I can just remelt it. Oh yeah, it's already hardening in the jar. I think we're going to be good. This is exciting. Might be tough to, like, I'll have to use probably like a popsicle stick as we get to the bottom of that to reach it. It doesn't smell bad. I want to use odorless mineral spirits because I didn't want to have really bad headache inducing stuff in here, although it still is a chemical, you know, it's still a chemical. Okay, that's all I'm going to put in there. I'm going to wipe the, well, I'm going to let it cool. I'm not going to cap it off till it's cool because I don't want it to stick on me, but I'm going to take another jar and put what's left in there. I think I might even be able to avoid the sediment because that seems to want to sink down. Oh, just seeing what's drying on the table, I think this is going to be just what I want. Wow, this is well, let's see, I'm just thinking, what did I pay for the Dammar resin bag? I think that was about $12 or $13 in a store, probably cheaper online. The wax pellets were about $10, and it was 2 pounds, and I just barely used any of them. The thinner, I know a full jar of that is about $14, but I traded with a friend of mine. She gave me that. I gave her some oil pastels and some other stuff. So let's see if I can, I wonder, oh, that's pretty hot. I'm like, can I pour that last little smidgen out? I'm trying to get that out without getting the sediment. I want to pour that out, but it's probably about all I can get without getting a bunch of crud in there. Wow, I almost got 2 jars of this. Now a jar, like a 16-ounce jar of cold wax medium would probably be, just a 4-ounce jar is like $10 or more. So if that is 16 ounces, that would be, you know, 4 times that, so $40. I mean, yeah, I just saved a ton of money making this ourselves. Okay, so I'm gonna let that set up. I just want to see kind of, oh yeah, what's on the table definitely feels like the Dorlands wax, but we'll let that set up, and then we will catch you back there when that's set. All right, it is late afternoon, and I just stuck my finger in there. Wow, I can't believe how easy this project was. So let's take a look at our encaustic medium. I'm just gonna demold them here. They should be nice and cool. It's very cool in my basement because it's winter and I have some windows open for, well, the windows aren't open because of ventilation, but I noticed the windows had, the casement windows don't like to stay closed. But there's our little encaustic TARDISes. Those will go, I'll put them in a baggie just to keep them clean. And then I will use them on my griddle for encaustic painting, and I'll just mix a little oil paint with them. So that will work out well. This was our last little kind of like tester that has the sediment in it, but you know, I think I actually might be able to use that. So very simple, very fun. I decided to come back here the next day and compare the cold wax medium now that it's fully cooled and the Dorlands wax. Like I said, this is about $10 for 4 ounces. You might find it a little bit cheaper. You might find it a little bit more expensive. This, the materials I bought cost about $20 to $30, but I could make probably a gallon of this stuff. So, I mean, it's really hard to compare how much per, you know, per unit it is, but I thought we could just kind of do a little head-to-head comparison. I'll start off with the, I guess I'll just do it on this little swatch. I'll start off with my DIY version. So that's what it looks like. And going on good, no smearing. When we had a little smearing yesterday when I first tried it, I think that was because the wax was still liquid. Yeah, look at that, no smearing, just giving it a nice even coat. Now I would let that dry fully and buff it out, but there you can see what it looks like just dry. Oh, so much, I love it. I love it because I've been so stingy with that. And knowing that it's so expensive. Okay, then on another part of the rag, I'll just go over here. I'm gonna get some of the Dorlands. This might feel a little bit softer, so they might have a higher, oops, I probably took too much. They might have a higher percentage of solvent. Gets spread out pretty well. So you just buff that in and you would let it dry. And let's just see if we can tell the difference between the two. Not really. They look about the same to me. But again, you can't really buff it out until the next day, but there's no smearing on either side, so both are going to protect your watercolors really well. And then, so we can see it doesn't smear. I was kind of concerned about that because it seemed like it was lifting up some paint on this yesterday. So now what I'm going to do is just find yet another spot on this t-shirt that doesn't have anything on it, and we're going to buff this out. So this is what we put on yesterday. I don't know how completely I covered it, but I did cover, I know, the wheat and the flour. I think I covered over here. Feels like I've got that waxy. So what you're going to do is make sure you have a clean, dry portion. I probably should have grabbed another rag, but this area here seems pretty dry. And you're just gonna buff. This is a thin piece of watercolor paper too. And the more you buff it, the more it's gonna get shiny. You know what, I'm just gonna grab a paper towel because I've got too much wax on there, I think, to... And the more you buff it, the shinier it'll get. See the sheen there? It didn't discolor the background, and there's no debris on my paper towel. Now if you had some colored pencil accents on there, you might get debris, so just FYI, you really want to either spray some fixative if you have colored pencil, or just do this on watercolor and gouache. Now I wasn't too particular when I was putting on the wax yesterday because I didn't really have the intention to do any more to the video, but you can see it buffs out nice and shiny. So the more resin you have, the harder and shinier I think you're going to get for a medium. The less resin, probably the more waxy it'll be. But I'm very impressed. This would be great to put on a postcard before you send it through the mail, or if you want to frame your artwork without glass. But I am just so thrilled. I think I want to grab a palette knife so we can see the texture difference too. I got this palette knife here. Let's uncap both of them so we can see. Okay, so the Dorlands, about the texture of, I would say, like Crisco or Vaseline. Different brands will have different like firmnesses too. I really only use Dorlands. I'll scrape that off in there so I don't waste it. It doesn't wipe off my thing. And this a little bit stiffer. Probably I could have put more solvent if I want. This one's also a little bit whiter. I use the white natural beeswax. That one's got a little bit more color to it. I prefer the clear, the more clear. But just a little bit more, a little bit firmer. This is a little bit softer, but very similar. And you can experiment with your ratios to get exactly the type of cold wax you want. I only made a small amount. Well, small amount is still like, you know, 4 times what I have in that little jar. I only made a small amount because I wanted to see what I thought of it before I altered the recipe. But you can use that, mix it with your oil paints to do impasto. You can use it with oil sticks. You can use it to, like I said, to varnish your watercolors and display them out without glass. You can use it for blending colored pencils and oil pastels, especially colored pencils and wax crayons if you are like working on a paper that doesn't like Gamsol. So like I was working on the sand grain paper from Canson the other day, and I wanted to blend it out with a solvent, but I couldn't use oderless mineral spirits because it would have messed up the paper, so I just grabbed the cold wax medium and it worked perfectly. And the next day it was completely dry. So yeah, it's a great little thing, and we can make it for next to nothing. So I'm really happy about that. I'm not ready to test out the Encaustic bars yet, but when I do, I will film it and let you know. Thank you so much for being part of this experiment. I hope you found it useful. And until next time, happy crafting. Bye!